So it was kind of neat watching it really get completed. And actually watching my daughter get married here was kind of cool.
If you guys could go back to the first day, what would be something you would tell yourself to get yourself either prepped or to prevent you from making a mistake that you made?
You're gonna run into every single obstacle. Like, this is not gonna be easy.
Yep.
What an amazing man. He wouldn't quit.
No.
Yeah.
He wouldn't give up on it.
No.
He was a fighter. I mean, I'm gonna get this done. And then the day he finished, he walked over to his son and said, now I am officially retired. And he said,
helping vendors grow and saving couples money. Welcome to the WedBegin Podcast.
What's up, guys? My name is Eli.
And I'm Jordan.
And this is the WedBegin Podcast.
Today, we're here with Jessica and Mike at Evergreen Farms, this absolutely beautiful venue. So, Jess, why don't you tell us the story behind the venue, why you got started, why you're here, what was the inspiration?
We're going all the way back.
Let's go. Bring it back. Bring it back.
So about 5 years ago now, Mike had sent me the listing for this property, and I looked at it, and I had no intention of moving. We were living in Plainfield, happy in our house, we're good. And I said, yeah, it's really pretty, and let it go. And then a couple days later, he sends it again to me. He's like, look, this is really awesome.
Yep.
And I looked again and said, yeah, it's really nice, but I'm not moving. And then I was like, okay, we'll go see it. So we toured the property. We looked at the barn, the coop here. And on the tour, I jokingly said I could turn it into a wedding venue. And at that point, that wasn't even a thing. I was a full-time teacher. Mike's a full-time paid fire chief. So we both very busy lives.
Yeah.
And so I knew though that I wanted to do something. So I had taken a business class here in Killingly, and Jill St. Clair ran the class, and I told her all the things I was dabbling in. So I had a online blog. I had a do-it-yourself thing. I was making masks during the pandemic and selling them.
Creative.
So I was doing a lot of things. Yep. And she said, you got to take all those things and like put it together. I said, well, we bought this property, and I was thinking about maybe turning it into a wedding venue. And she said, that's your thing. That's it. So from there, we talked about it for a while. Yep. And we went to our carpenter, who Rick. He built our addition, and we asked him, "What do you think? Are you on board to help us out with this?" And he said, "Yes." And then
especially because when you came in here, that was a big undertaking. This was nothing like what we see now on camera. Here.
No.
So, yeah.
Chicken coop.
Yep.
This was a chicken coop. Yes.
Yeah.
We went to friends, family. We knew we were going to need help. So we went to a bunch of people and asked, if we did this, would you be able to help? And everybody jumped on board and said, yep, let's do this. And then it took a lot of a lot of work, a lot of guts, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. We did the inside in 10 months.
Wow.
Which was
That's a quick job.
Incredibly fast.
Yeah.
We would work during the day, come home, take care of the kids, and then come down, and we'd be working all evening, sometimes with headlamps, staining tables, painting.
Busting concrete.
Yeah.
And you had a deadline, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So we were booking weddings before we had a driveway. Before we had even stairs to go to the second floor. Like, nothing was done. We just started putting it out there that we were going to be turning it into a wedding venue, and people were coming and just looking at the barn and said, yep, sign me up. And when we did tours, I would have to say, and imagine here, there'll be a light. And imagine here.
I came on one of those imaginary tours. There was still a ceiling right above us here before you cut it all out.
Yeah,
so,
and I would say to people, imagine there'll be no ceiling here. There'll be no floor. And everybody would say, what do you mean there's no floor? There'll be no floor. They're like, what are we going to walk on? I said, trust me. You'll be able to walk on something, but there will be nothing there. So, people trusted us, and I, on our website, I posted updates constantly. I had a blog going on with, I showed pictures and updates on what was next, and I had like a whole mood board so everybody could see what my vision was, and we hit the ground running. It was insane.
Yeah.
Well, because that's a big ask too, to tell brides, hey, I need you to put your imagination on for this before you come in here. It's not going to look anything like this when your wedding happens.
Right.
And they just got to trust you. So
exactly.
But do you think that because you guys set that system up so that you had to get it done, do you think that helped you guys get it done faster?
Yeah.
One was my daughter.
Yes.
Was our daughter, basically.
That was the biggest deadline.
That was the biggest deadline. Like, this has to be done. Or
Yeah.
What about that? Was
Livy was getting married here.
Oh,
Livy
Livy.
Carson. Yeah.
Yeah, she trusted.
Was she the
us,
first
too.
wedding here?
Yeah. Second.
Second. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was the second, and she could not envision what it was going to look like at all. So she had all faith and trust in what we were doing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until this floor came out that you saw the big difference. Because you got to remember, we did the upstairs first. So the ceiling was in, all the post and beam was in, and that was done. So and once you took the floor out, so you could be like, whoa. Yeah. Now, because even Mr. Sedora, who was doing our septic, he kind of walked in the day when the flooring came out, and he was like, oh my God.
His face just lit up. He was just in utter amazement. And we did I did a video on Instagram of the guys ripping out this floor. It got over 1 million views.
Did it really?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
That video. So if you go on our Instagram, you'll be able to see that video of the guys ripping out the floors, and it
Thank
was
God
pretty
for
cool.
firefighters.
Yeah, you had a lot of help.
Yes,
If there's
we did.
anything that you would do after this as a second career, it would be sales. Because I was also on one of those imaginary tours, and it was my wife and I, and we were like, what?
Yeah.
I remember it vividly. Like, it was just like the flooring was, you were ripping it up at the time.
Yeah.
This was still there. You were like, yeah, we're going to put the bar back here. We're putting bathrooms back here. And I was like, oh, yeah. And the craziest thing was when you told me you were building a bridge. I was like, you're building a bridge over the driveway?
Mm-hmm.
That was my biggest, like, are these people crazy?
That was
Are they legit?
That was my mom's idea. My mom's like, we were outside doing landscaping, and she's like, you need a bridge. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, you need a bridge to go over this.
In every market, there's a group of vendors who quietly pull ahead because they recognize a moment to act while others are still watching. WedBegin is attracting professionals who want real control, meaningful vendor partnerships, and a booking model that respects their profit. And as you consider where the next wave of couples will be searching, it makes sense to imagine your name already in front of them. Now go ahead and reserve your place on WedBegin today and move your business into the category couples trust first.
So go ahead and visit WedBegin.com to reserve your spot on our waiting list.
Yeah.
And opening it all up. So there was a lot of faith and trust in everybody coming in and her vision. And this is all really her vision. She'd sit up at night and just draw and come up with things, and then we'd shoot down and start doing them. And so it was kind of neat watching it really get complete. And actually watching my daughter get married here was kind of cool.
That's
I mean, that was wicked cool. I had seen her face when this floor came out and walk in there, and she was like, and that, just putting it all together.
We've made, it's, the building has made people cry in a good way.
Yeah, of course.
I've captured many tears here. So.
Even on tours, I've had ladies go up in the dressing rooms and then just start crying because it's so beautiful. And
Your dressing rooms are amazing.
thank
Literally.
you.
It's like you're about to go on like a TV show. It's like it's immaculate up there.
Thank you.
And you've had no experience building or designing before,
No.
other than just like your creative endeavors, right?
Yeah, I was one of those weird kids where I rearranged my room like once a week, and I had like graph paper, and I measured my furniture and cut the graph paper exactly to size, and I would move them around so I knew.
Yeah.
And I was always doing that. My mom, God bless her, she let me paint the house inside. When I was like a teenager, I got to pick all the colors, and she gave me free reign and and you know, like I love design. I love all of that. I've always loved the arts. So yeah, I've been doing it forever.
And the landscaping too here. A lot of land, right? And you plant evergreen trees, right? So that's where the name came from.
Yes.
So maintaining all of the landscaping too is something maybe, did you consider that? Did you think about that? What was going to be involved in that? Or were you like, I mean, what was the biggest endeavor? Obviously, probably the building.
Yes, definitely. I love plants.
Yeah. You
And
know.
so we just tackle it, you know, like we keep on trying to add more plants at different seasons that are blooming at different, times. I think the property is so beautiful. I love it when the butterfly bushes are in bloom and there's butterflies everywhere.
Yeah.
And face it, we have 2 more years to get the driveway done.
That's a joke. That's a joke. When we moved on the property, part of the agreement was we had to, within 5 years of owning the property, make a secondary driveway in to this building. That was part of the agreement. And that baffled my mind of how I'm going to get a driveway, because this was all woods. Like we had to cut down massive trees. And so it's a running joke between Mike and Bubba that we still have a couple more years to put in a driveway, and we've already built a venue. So.
Yeah.
There was an old driveway here you can see back in the day where they had cut it through.
Yeah.
And it was there.
Like a tractor. It was a tractor driveway, kind of.
Used it for the farm.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm guessing.
It was a farm driveway, not a venue driveway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
now talk about, so this is, was a chicken coop. When you first bought the property, you sort of utilized this space for something else, right? And you still sort of do on another end of the property? Storage units?
Yep.
So it was long-term storage. So when we first acquired the property, all of it was long-term storage.
Okay.
And then we, after this section was cleared out, then we were able to get in and do what we needed to do.
Gotcha.
And then we have some ideas moving on that side, but
Good. Cool.
I'm not going to share just yet.
Okay.
So
we got a surprise.
Some hot secrets hidden here.
Yes,
but
we
that's
do. We
okay.
have some big ideas
That's exciting.
brewing. Yeah.
And that was the reason for the second driveway was the long-term storage. That's what it had to be.
Did you have a lot of
5
tenants in here for the storage?
There wasn't a lot. It was just some people that had things here for a long time. Yeah.
From the original owner, from Don.
Yeah.
Bernie was the original owner. They had just kind of rented from him, and then his kids, before they sold the property, went to the Department of Health, and the town got it all approved for long-term permitted storage. So I'm sure that's why they said the second driveway has to be within 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, if you guys could go back to the first day that you guys started this endeavor, you got no venue here, everything's just like you're getting started, what would be something you would tell yourself to get yourself either prepped or to prevent you from making a mistake that you made? What would be something you would tell yourself at that stage, do you think?
You're going to run into every single obstacle. This is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It was not easy. There were quite a few times that I was like, oh my God, can we actually do this? It was scary. My God, this is a huge endeavor to take on. I mean, it was, I remember my dad at one point saying, no, go, keep moving forward. Don't stop. He's, we're already halfway in. He said, don't stop. You got to keep going. Because it was incredibly stressful. It was up all hours, just a lot of worrying, a lot of,
I was only worried at the end.
Okay.
Only
I was worried the
when
whole
we got close to the wedding dates, and we were having trouble with the well and the septic. So I took the day off when the septic was going to start being dug. And I can tell, I've done contracting before, I've done a lot of stuff, and I could hear him dig, and I'm like, good. Then I'd hear scrape. I'd be like,
we kept on hitting ledge.
kept hitting, and I know depth. I'm like, he's not deep enough yet. I can tell by the dig. I could see his excavator. I'm like, oh no. And I'd watch him trek a little the other direction, start digging. I'm like, okay, he's digging. And I hear the scrape. I'm like,
Yeah, it took a lot longer than planned because we hit ledge, and our original plan was to have it completely level in the back.
Okay.
But the septic system ended up having to be
Raised
higher
up.
because we hit massive rocks.
It's an engineered system.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Headaches, you know.
Yeah.
if it wasn't for
Yeah, Mr. Zadora.
Mr. Zadora,
He was amazing.
what an amazing man. He wouldn't quit.
No.
Yeah.
He wouldn't give up on it.
No.
He was a fighter. I mean, I'm going to get this done. And then the day he finished, he walked over to his son and said, now I am officially retired. And he said, in his 50 years of doing it, he said this was the worst one he had ever had put in. It was that he just hit ledge everywhere. He found one open spot to sit the tanks.
Okay.
And just one spot. He's like, I found a spot. And then we worked from there. But we owe him a debt of gratitude because really he made sure we were done. That's the only thing I was nervous about, things that were out of our control, because I knew we could finish. I knew me and her, we were putting in the 9. We had family help. We had firefighters here.
Rick's super not.
friends.
He worked so hard, and he does beautiful work. Rick did the woodwork in here. I mean,
he
it
did
is
great work then.
Yeah.
That's just
just
fantastic.
I remember
stunning.
seeing him in here working.
Oh my
You
God,
know.
so
So
beautiful.
you had numerous people who you can just really dedicate this to. People who came in and helped so much.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Rick, huge. I mean, and it was so great working with Rick. I would have my sketches. I would go to him and say, can we do this? What do you think? And then he would look at it and say, yep. And he would do it that it logistically, would work out.
Yeah.
So now I know you said that in the beginning you would tell yourself, hey, this is going to be crazy. There's going to be challenges. So tell me a little bit then about what would you say is like the biggest factor in you guys overcoming all of those challenges? Was it the people? Was it you guys as a couple together working on it? Was it the dream? Like, what was it that you think would be like the biggest catalyst for you guys getting through it?
I think everybody was in our corner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, everybody was, if we needed help, people showed up.
Yeah.
He put up a notice at the fire department, anybody, we need help. And if they didn't know how to do a skill, we taught them how to do it, and they did it.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad, I mean, they were here every day working.
That is awesome.
We put everything into.
My family came up from Florida
Yes.
for some days off, but helped us do plumbing.
Yeah, they installed
Helped
toilets.
install toilets.
That's
They
phenomenal.
were like right in line. Let's go, and
Wow.
just
Yeah, they installed the toilets.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we had definitely a support. Kids, my son Charles, Mike taught him how to lay hardwood floors. Did the hardwood floors upstairs.
Wow.
me and him did all those.
Yeah.
And if you look down, you can line up from side to side. We lined it all up.
My youngest son, landscaping. My daughter, she jumped in wherever we needed her. She was in there doing work.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was part of this.
I've come prior to a wedding to set up, and I see your parents out there
Oh, yeah.
working, driving a tractor, doing stuff with the hydrangeas that were all planted. Beautiful, right? And I've seen your mom out there. Like as I'm pulling in, it's a lot of hands on deck, and you don't have any employees, right?
No.
So you're managing this yourself. And it's a huge space.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge property.
Yep.
Yeah. And this isn't full time either. You have full time jobs.
Yes,
Yep.
we both work
So-
full time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It's possible. Right? It's possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I love hearing that too, because like I always think of a business like a baby, and they say it takes a village to raise a child. And it's the same kind of concept with a business. It really takes the community you're working with, the people around you, to help your business grow and thrive. So I love that story that you guys, your family, really just banded together. I think that's so cool.
And even the town, like building department, fire marshal, they were all on our side. Like they were helping out.
They were wonderful.
They were wonderful.
That's fantastic. 'cause that's
hadn't-
tough. Sometimes
we-
it doesn't work
right.
that way.
No.
And we had an open door policy.
Yep.
We welcomed them whenever they were around.
Yep.
Come in, please.
Yep.
Let us know. Did we do something? Do we need to fix something? And, they would say, this is not right. You have to change. Okay. And we would fix it immediately.
What about
And
you with the fire marshal and the fire marshal won in the end on this
he
one.
did. Okay. This is a funny.
It's just a funny. It's a good funny.
I'm very particular on design, and white smoke detectors are an eyesore, and I have my beautiful black ceilings, and I really didn't want white smoke detectors, and I was so determined I'm going to find black ones. They don't make them. So somebody out
And
there,
Randy knew this.
please make black smoke detectors for people like me who don't like white ones.
And you can't paint them.
No,
No,
you're not allowed to. Correct.
Detectors, you can't
That's what I was gonna ask. Cause like, can you paint?
I asked that.
It's a good thing you got a firefighter for a hubby. You know?
Correct.
I probably told you no.
I asked if I could paint them, and I got a no. And so that was a running joke between Randy and I about my white smoke detectors.
Well, I have never noticed them.
Now,
Now I do. But I mean,
It's one of those things now we can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
But, it's, I definitely in the process, it was a lot of give and take. I would come up with ideas and like the smoke detectors, and sometimes you just have to, be flexible and know, okay, I got to come up with another plan. For instance, I wanted black metal up all the way on the ceiling, so on the sides also. However, the amount of work to install those and to cut all the openings for everything, it was a lot of work.
Now you're saying like along the wall? Like,
No,
or-
the black metal ceiling.
Yeah.
I wanted it on the ceilings up above also, but we have wood up there.
Oh, those ceilings. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I
Balcony.
changed the design and made it so it was just wood on the sides.
Okay. Yeah.
So Rick wasn't spending.
yeah, that was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, and
Yeah.
and in the end, I actually like it better that it's only black in the middle. So
Yeah,
it worked
yeah.
out.
And plus, if down the line you guys decide you want to add it, it's not like you
Oh,
can't,
yeah,
yeah.
But that was one thing that was great about her doing these designs, right? She's not stubborn enough to say, well, no, that's just the way it's going to be. She can adjust on the fly too, which
Yeah.
when somebody has a vision, to be able to adjust on the fly is actually that's
Valuable.
very valuable, because you run into something like that. So, you might have another person say, no, I want the metal, and we would have never made the deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way, because that metal would have just taken up all this time. It probably would have been another 3 weeks easily.
Yeah.
That's how slow it was. So
Yeah.
her to sit there and go, that shouldn't really, I didn't really like. That's why I knew we could, anything we had to tackle, I knew we could accomplish. Anything outside of us that she couldn't physically do, that concerned me.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh boy,
Yeah.
we're going to run into, contractors are very busy right now, and are we going to run into less? But we run into great contractors that he stepped up to, really.
Yeah.
And you guys are still updating and making
Yes.
changes. So that's the other thing. It's been 2 years now, and you're still, stamped concrete outside.
Yep.
That was a huge endeavor, and that was
Upright
a few months ago.
construction. Yeah,
Yeah.
they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Love the stamped concrete.
Yeah. So there's these little things you're just continuously improving, and like who knows what's gonna look like in 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
got
have- I
another
have
side
my
of the building too.
I have my sketches.
Listen, she's sketching
Yes, you said,
now.
who knows? She knows.
She knows. She does. She does.
She's
got
sketching
them in her
now.
diary.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I was just going to say, do you think it looks exactly how you initially had envisioned it to look, or did it?
Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We've been just adding more and more little details, and it just, you have to, when you have a building like this, you have to make it neutral enough that all brides or all couples will like the aesthetic. If you start adding too much of your own personal touch, that's when you're going to drive people away.
Yeah.
So, you try to keep it as elegant and neutral as possible.
Yep.
That's what I found.
Yep. What was your strategy on being able to finance something like this?
We used a lot of our savings.
Okay.
And then I saw your podcast, and very similar. So we were booking before we started working.
Yeah.
So when you book couples, you have deposits that you're taking in, and that money is going towards
Correct.
your business.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're not seeing, it takes a while to see the outcome, like start receiving money and it not being
Yes.
Exactly.
directly into your business.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's definitely, the couples who are booking with us definitely helped with
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, that's huge for any wedding business. People will have to pay a deposit most of the time.
Yep.
That's how we all run our business, and that's income. We
Exactly.
can realize that, and we can reinvest that and pay ourselves back quickly. What's the weirdest thing that's ever happened here? So we do this little skit, where it's the emergency kit, the wedding emergency kit. Is there something that's happened, the craziest thing, the craziest story you have?
Okay. So recently, about a month ago now, our beautiful bridge was hit by a box truck. So all vendors, we have a separate vendor entrance for all vehicles for the vendors. And this box truck the driver decided not to take the vendor entrance and to take the main entrance in, drove straight into our bridge and didn't stop until it hit the ground. Yeah. So that was pretty wild. That was an hour and a half before the wedding on that day. And the ceremony still took place because it didn't interfere with that portion. And after the ceremony, the couple and the family, they were taking pictures in the Christmas tree farm. And Mike and I went over to them, and the bride looked at me. Love you, by the way. And she looked at me and put out her arms and said, "It looks like you need a hug." And she just grabbed me and gave me the biggest hug, which at the point, that's what I needed.
Yeah.
And she said, "Don't worry about anything." She said, the ceremony was beautiful. Everything is beautiful. She said, "You worry about that right now."
Yeah.
And we immediately called Ben LaBelle Construction. He, within like a half an hour, dropped what he was doing, came right over. He was in utter disbelief as to what had happened. And he took the job. And that following Tuesday, demo began. And
Now, this is kind of more of a technical business question, I guess, but did you guys have insurance that covered it, or did you have the vendor have insurance that covered it, or?
We both have insurance.
Yeah, good. Yes, because that's always important. You know, when you're starting your business, you want to make sure you have insurance for the venue you're at, and for any other vendors you're working with. It's like one of the no-brainers when you start the wedding industry, I think. So
correct, and to feed into that, as a vendor, we always ask for proof of insurance from our vendors, whoever come to the venue, just to make sure, everybody's covered. God forbid something were to happen.
Boy, that's a great example, because who would have known? I remember driving under that the first time, and I had the bar cart on a trailer.
Yeah.
I have space, but it was nerve-wracking. I'm like, I don't want to hit this thing, because you have to have insurance, because you just never know what could happen.
Well, it's especially funny for me because every time I take pictures of people at the bridge, I always have to Photoshop that sign out that says, like, I think it was like 10 feet coverage
8 foot clearance.
Or 8 foot clearance.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, oh, I hate that sign. But now I get why you had it. You know?
Thank God we
It's
had
unfortunate nobody was looking at it other than me,
It's just keep Photoshopping them out.
That's it, yeah. The wedding professionals who stay ahead aren't always louder. They're usually the ones who move early when the right opportunity shows up. See, WedBegin was built for vendors who want more control, stronger collaborations, and a platform that only wins when they do. So, as you decide what kind of next season you want, imagine couples viewing your profile, seeing your bundles, and reaching out ready to book. Take a moment now and secure your spot on WedBegin and step into the next phase of your business before everyone else catches on. So go ahead and visit WedBegin.com to reserve your spot on our waiting list.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah. So that was your craziest story. Well,
that was one of them. There's others.
Well, let's hear one from you.
Well, I know now I do not go upstairs until all the bridesmaids have left.
Oh, no.
Because I came around the corner one day and all I heard her yell, "Michael!" And I was like, "Oh!" And I'm like, "I'm out!" And I was like, so I told Jessica, I said, "Let me know when it's clear up there, because I don't want to go up there until."
Yeah.
She was not mad or nothing like that, and she had left the barn door open, and she just changed it out.
At the end of the evening, when we're locking up. So we're going around and locking up all the doors and turning off lights, and didn't realize somebody was still upstairs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I know now. I'm like, just let me know when it's clear.
Yeah.
That's why anytime as a photographer, I have that issue too, where as I'm going in the dressing rooms, usually once they're dressed, but I'm always like, knock, and everybody decent in there.
If she would have had this barn, I didn't open the barn door. She just had left them
open. Everything was open.
It was just
that's why.
open, and she probably not
Well, then
thinking.
Yeah.
She gets a little to blame for that.
Yeah. Oh, that's why she wasn't even mad. She
No.
she chuckled it right off. I turned right around and laughed. So I was like, oh, and I'm like, no, new rule.
Man.
New rule. I think that was the first wedding too.
Probably.
Oh, really?
It was. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, then
it was
that's how you
early
learn.
on.
Yeah,
You learn.
You like-
early
It is
learn.
true. It's good that you learned early
Yeah,
on.
I
Yeah.
stay down here now and wait for my signal. The bat signal goes up. And
Because you two really are your only employees here, what does it look like at a wedding? Or, you don't only do weddings here too. We
Right.
should also notice that. I had a baby shower here.
Yeah.
There was a baby shower last weekend. So there are small events here. What is your effort that you put into those events?
Yeah, so it's convenient living on property.
Yep.
So during weddings, we do a lot of check-ins, but we try to be as discreet as possible. We don't walk around and like, hey, we're the owners. We try to be very hidden when we do our check-ins.
Yep.
So I always, go in and check in with them.
Yep.
I feel like the DJ sees it all and will let me know if there's an issue.
Yep.
So I check in, make sure they're all set. Then we make our way to the catering prep room and pop our head and see if the caterers are all set.
Yep.
Or we talk to them outside.
Yep.
Because it's usually pretty busy over there with serving and whatnot.
Yep.
And we just frequently just come down. Some weddings are fun.
oh yeah.
We end up like talking to people outside for like a half an hour, just guests, just like, hanging out
Yep.
and or like if they have pizza trucks, we'll hang out with the vendors outside and talk to them for a
You get
while.
some free food, typically.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Occasionally, yeah.
Some vendors will give us, a free dinner. Others haven't, but
that's,
occasionally.
But some of the
you
pizza
have-
trucks are good.
Yeah, the pizza trucks.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, they're in your backyard.
Oh my God! You open our back door and you smell pizza.
It's like, I'm like,
It's like,
oh my God,
yeah,
that smells so good.
yeah. It's really yeah.
Oh,
So
definitely.
you have some late nights. I've
Yeah.
seen you guys. I'm like getting out of here, like if it's 10:30, and you're just coming down and you're ready to do something.
Yeah.
I've seen you out in the tractor.
Yes.
Pushing
The trash can.
garbage bags into the trash can because you got to make room in the dumpster.
Yeah.
So what's the latest night you've ever had with the?
Oh, so you live and learn. So early on, before we were super strict on our 11 o'clock, everybody has to be out.
Yeah.
We had a couple of DJs that decided just to hang out here. There was nobody left.
Yeah.
Like no, the couple was gone. I mean, everybody was gone, and the DJs, like two of them, were just chilling until 12:30. And we're down here, like we come lock up at 11, and we're like, okay, like
Oh man.
come on, we want to go to bed. It's late.
There's some weddings where we lose track. We're just talking with all of them, and then we're like, oh, whoops. There's some where we're just hanging out with the couple, and we're talking.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
There's nights like that too, and then we're like, oh God, it's now.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's certain ones that we're late just because of us, but there's been a couple
That's funny.
that have been really late, and since then we're like very now like 11 o'clock is we lock up.
Definitely.
Everybody's
Doors
out
locked,
just
yeah.
to prevent that from happening.
Yep.
DJs moving in.
Yeah. Now, I have a question about, obviously, you guys work together on this business. I work with my fiance. He works with his wife. What would be like, first of all, what's the dynamic like for you guys? Like, how do you guys divvy up who does what? And also, like, has there ever been a time where you guys were both you had a challenge that you had to go through together and you had to figure out the outcome together? And, like, how'd you guys manage that? I know that's a big question.
It's a lot of juggling.
I'll say this past year, she's probably 80% of the business. I'm 20%. Just to be fair to her, she busted her butt while I've been working on the house for my daughter. So every weekend she was working this, and that's just being truthful. So the past few months I've been picking up my slack and trying to help out more because, she works. And she comes down here and doesn't stop. And I'll say that's the biggest difference with this place is, Jess makes the brides matter. And I think that's one of the biggest things is when a bride matters, you make them kind of like family, and it's not fake to us, because even afterwards, they're still, we talk to them, or we see them now, they have a baby, and this and that, so we find it to be awesome. And she works, and a lot of it is I'll give my little, like, I'll say, well, what about this idea, just to throw it out there. And a lot of times we go with really what Jeff's vision is. She has a vision of it, and this is her baby, this is her project. I get to be the chief of Dayville. That's my business, my project, and I love doing what I do, and I love seeing her smile and happy, and she loves doing this business. So any way I can help out, I 100% back her. But I would say this past year, it's been 80%, 20. That, just to be fair, and it might even been higher for her on that. But it's, I had to finish something, and she loves my daughters, so she's like, get that done, and then she knows I'll be right back helping her more. And I got to buy my gas-powered leaf blower, so that was
there
huge.
You go.
I'm out there with the battery one, like,
oh no,
3 hours later. Now I'm out there in an hour. I'm like, watch this, Jess.
And then I walk in front of him. I'm like,
yeah.
And I'm like, see, I told you that this one would work way better.
You get a lot of toys though. Being owning a venue, you got a nice tractor, you got a golf cart.
Yes.
You drive around.
That was a necessity.
Yeah.
I was using my car to drive. Like, I would load it up with plants and driving my car around to do plantings. And I'm like, this is no. And
Made more sense.
Yeah, getting that definitely was a whole lot.
Now, have you guys ever disagreed about anything with how to do things with the business, or has
I would
it always
say
been pretty?
no. We'll talk.
Yeah.
We might get frustrated for a second.
Yeah.
But for the most, we're really on the same path. It's, we kind of have the same goals, and a lot of it is, she's got a lot of great ideas, and so there's one coming up.
Yeah, I can't. We're not gonna.
We're not gonna say it, but there's one coming up that.
Yeah.
My idea is.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Very excited.
And she loved it, but for the most part, she sits there at night. She starts drawing stuff, and I know, like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, God.
Here we go.
What are we doing now?
How many hours is this going to take? I'm changing the arch. But she drew this all hour. She had pictures and this and that. And I look at them like, oh, well, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get it, because it just flows and it's perfect. It's like the stamped concrete, it couldn't be this pattern. It had to be this pattern. And she looks and goes, okay, that's the pattern. And I couldn't envision it kind of at first. I couldn't really see it. Then until it sounds like, oh yeah, no, that's beautiful.
I kind of, when I'm doing it, I'm thinking, what's going to make my couples happy? What will make their lives easier? And, what are they going to walk away with? I think having been a teacher for almost 20 years, like, with teaching, you take care of the kids. You are nurturing them. You're meeting their needs. You're their counselor. You're your mom. You're everything for these kids. And and I just told one of my brides, I was like, they got married, they graduated, and I was like, when I was teaching, there was always students that they will forever hold a part of my heart. I will always remember them. And I'm like, I feel like that with a lot of my couples too. They just have made such an impact on my life, and I love seeing their updates on social media. They're having babies and it's like buying houses, and it's so much fun. And I just love the relationships that I have with my couples.
Yeah, I think that definitely sets you apart. Because I, as a vendor myself, I noticed that from you, right? I can tell on social media you're involved in the couple. Because, I'm talking to the couple too. And then I see you are also just so happy for them. You're sharing photos, you're commenting on their photos, and like a year later, so you do build a connection with them.
Yeah, they feel like family. They really are.
Yeah.
They are, after each couple gets married, I send them a thank you card.
Yeah.
And I welcome them to the Evergreen Farms family.
Yeah.
So everybody gets, they are our family now.
Yeah. I could say too, as a former student, that you were like that even as a teacher. It was like class felt like familial. You know, you even made it feel like that for students. But I do have to tell you, I told you this before we started. So, you know, one time, and this is all it took was one time. I was a nerd in your class. I was like straight A+. I loved your class. I learned a lot of stuff. But one day you got the flu, and you were not in school, and we had a substitute, and we had a test that day too.
Oh.
And mind you, I was the only like real nerdy kid in the class. So this substitute literally said to the whole class, he said, "Just so you guys know, I'm not going to be looking. So if you guys want to cheat, I don't even care." And I was just like, I got red in the face because I knew I was the one that everybody was going to cheat on. And I kid you not, the entire class pulled their chairs up around me, and everybody took their test off of my test.
Oh my God.
Wow. So wait, you didn't know about this?
No.
I never knew that.
Everybody took their test off of my test, and I remember I was so pissed. I was like, I hate science.
Wait a minute,
now.
what a compliment to you.
I'll take it.
This is good.
Like-
I would have been right up beside him going,
Oh yeah.
my first
Most
100.
definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
It's funny when it's so nice, like working with former students, seeing them again. We have booked several of my former students, and it's great when they come back and I see where they are in life, and it's so much fun. So my first degree was in engineering. I had gotten my bachelor's in chemical engineering.
Yep.
I went to UConn, and I worked in research for a year. I worked with a small company called Real Time Analyzers. They're out of East Hartford. So I would drive from Central Village to East Hartford and back every day. It was a trek.
Yeah.
And then, so I did that. And then when I was working there, I felt like I wasn't serving a purpose. Like, I felt like I could have been doing something more. I love working with people. I love talking to people. And I felt like I wasn't giving enough. I don't know. I wasn't fulfilling enough. So I went into teaching. I did a intense summer program. I got my teaching degree after that summer. I got hired immediately.
Wow.
And then I started working at Coventry High School, teaching.
Coventry, Connecticut? Or,
Yeah,
okay,
Coventry
awesome.
High School. Yep. And I worked there for a few years, and then I got pregnant with Abby. And then when she was a baby, I went back to college and worked and had a baby. And I did all three. And I got my master's in teaching after that. And then almost 20 years. I now work at Marionopolis. I have a very nice office job. So I'm able to work my 8 to 4. I come home and I tour. Or I'll cook dinner and then I tour. And then weekends I have events.
So you got a fully stacked schedule is what you're telling us.
Yeah.
And you love it.
Yeah.
And this is just like, so you're just somebody who wants to work hard. You get a lot of value out of this too. You're building relationships, and there's probably so much joy in that.
I love making people happy.
Yeah.
I love, like, I don't know. It's just something about Mike's the same way. Like, we love making people happy. So we do everything possible to, and solving problems.
Yeah.
We're good at, somebody has an issue with something. Okay, we're on it.
Yeah.
We'll fix it for you. And we're very much go-getters. We're not the sit at home on the couch people.
No. And Mike's like the community man.
Yes.
You were saying earlier how he's the Killingly mascot.
He's amazing.
He raises so
really
much
is.
money, Firefighter, he raises money. You can talk about, so you are involved with a peer support group.
Yep.
A recently new group.
Yeah, I have. So with that would start from, I did 20 and a half years in corrections. I've been, I'll be a first responder for 39 years, January 1st.
Wow.
So I've been with Davo for 39 years.
Oh my gosh.
Been chief for just over 4 years. Started Quiet Corner Peer Support Group last year. Phone's going to ring now.
Busy man? It's not a fire call this time.
Nope, no, we're good. No
I
fire.
might get a ring back on that one. That's a daughter.
Oh, yeah.
But it's Hannah. She does. We'll see. But so yeah, I believe in community a lot. I believe I love our first responders. So 97% in my firehouse are all volunteers. They like today, so we sat and did a boot drive in Killenly Commons from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
So what he does before the boot drive is that he cooks them breakfast.
Yeah.
So
wow.
before every boot drive, he cooks the fire department breakfast down there so that they're all have full bellies before they go down. And he spends the entire day down there.
I've been down there. I was down there since 6:30.
Yeah.
You've had a long day.
Oh,
6:30 at the fire department cooking sandwiches, or you were there?
Making breakfast.
Making breakfast.
At 6:30 in the morning.
And then
Me
you
and
stood in
Lieutenant
the cold.
Izzo
Yep.
making
He
breakfast.
gave them all, he has a tradition.
A tradition. I do Christmas socks. I do funny socks. So I let
You
them.
got funny socks on right now?
No, I got home. I changed.
Yeah.
But I'll get them for you after you two can pick out of the bag. I think they're still in the truck. So I do, and that's the whole thing, is to make people laugh, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I started that, and they can't look in the bag. They got to reach in and pull out. Even Gary O from Winnie Radio, he pulls in the bag and pulls out, a pair of socks, and they're all different ones. And this year, I was thinking of my mom a lot, so I found Garfield socks, and she loved Garfield.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
We had the Garfield socks in there, and it's to make them, have a better day. Like I always say, people will never come out and say, "Oh, I'm having a bad day." Most of the time, they just kind of smile and keep pushing forward. And that's all we do, and that's half the reason. Like for the peer support team, and the stuff that we're going to be announcing in a few months on that is amazing, and it's just. I really believe we got to get back more into community. We have to start caring about each other more. We only have really each other, and that what I mean by each other is the community.
Can I ask you for a small favor? Just 20 seconds. We've created this show to bring value to the wedding industry, and your support helps us keep going. Today's episode is brought to you by our platform, WedBegin, the place to connect couples and vendors directly, transparently, and simply. Just a subscription, like, share, or follow goes a tremendous way in allowing us to do this. Thanks for giving us this moment. Now let's get back to the conversation.
So go ahead and visit WedBegin.com to reserve your spot on our waiting list.
Absolutely.
We got to watch out for each other. We got to take care of each other. And, when it doesn't take that much effort.
Yeah.
It doesn't really, I always say the word be kind. Okay, yeah, whatever. No, maybe just care about one another.
Check on each other.
Check on each other. Make
Phone
sure
calls.
It's a simple thing.
It is.
It's a very simple thing.
it's a simple.
But it goes an extremely long way.
Yeah, it does. And that's why, I'm out in the community all the time trying to make a difference, because you can make a difference, especially local. You can do a lot of things. Last year when I ran back into a friend, Kevin McNeil, my partner with the Quiet Corner Peer Support Group, we realized, how much more mental health was needed around here. I kind of realized about 4 or 5 years ago when I became chief, I addressed it immediately. So I always say, I wrote a letter to all my members on my stance on mental health. I put it in their gear lockers in the morning. I put it in the gear locker. About noon, I took it all out of the gear locker. I'm like, no, they're going to think I'm a weak leader. I don't want to do that. Then I was like, no, I'm addressing this issue.
Yeah.
Put it all right back in the gear locker. And I'll say this, Dave's run for over 4 years now, probably almost 4,000 calls for a volunteer small combination apartment. We haven't dropped a call yet.
Wow.
These volunteers are working all the time. They'll come out, and a lot of it is they thanked me. They thanked me for checking on. They said, "You check on us, you care, you make us
Mental health dinners.
I do mental health dinners with them. It's just buying some pizzas.
Yeah.
Buying some pizzas, hanging out.
Especially being a first responder, a lot of people I think are just oblivious to what you guys go through.
Right.
I can't imagine things you guys have seen, been a
Yep.
part of.
Yeah.
It's a tough industry, but
And it is, and then think they're doing it for free.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Or like your KB ambulance, they're doing it for a lot of times with not a lot of pay. They're not making a lot. They're not making enough to really even pay rent.
Yeah.
And I'm on the board of directors at KB, and I get very offended when they used to call them KB personnel will work. They'll work at KB, then they'll work at Woodstock, and they'll work at Putnam. And I don't find that funny. I said, because they're doing that because they need the money just to pay their rent, because we got to get their wages up there to make sure They should be able to pay rent. They should be able to buy a house.
Yeah.
They should be able to do
Yeah.
these things. And like I said, I get offended by that stuff. I'm like, we're supposed to take care of our first responders on all levels, from your volunteers all the way to your professionals, your career. Well, actually, volunteers are professional too, all up to your pay.
Yeah.
You should be taken care of. So it's just something.
Well, it's interesting too, because even though obviously weddings are not nearly as, stress-inducing and as being a firefighter, but there's still a lot of I think there's a lack of that community, like you're talking about how people need to work together. And that's kind of why we put together the WedBegin platform, and the whole concept of it is just to enforce a community that everybody is keeping each other honest, working together to grow our businesses. And also just being able to check in with other vendors. If another vendor, has gone missing for a while, you might be like, I hope they're doing okay, And I think there's not enough of that. It's a lot of, it's very competitive, who's going to get booked. And I think the irony is, if we were all more community based, we'd probably all get more bookings,
I agree.
And it's just like that. Everybody's going to thrive in the firefighting department if everybody is being checked in on and everybody's feeling that community growing around them. So.
No, that's why this is going to work out nice here, because you check in on everybody, make sure you're going to help build other venues, help build other just brain farted.
Well, hey, you've been out in the cold all day.
Other wedding vendors.
Thank
Yep,
you.
there you go.
Take two.
The take two, cut that, edit. Leave the brain fart out.
Keep that one in.
No, that was good though. You went really deep into that. I love that. That was a good piece. Thanks for sharing all that. For real.
It's and I'll say I can't do it without her.
Yeah.
Because I am gone a lot of hours. We'll get a call out for mental health sometimes late at night, or I'll get a call just from a friend at 2 a.m. or whatever, and I'm out. My phone's on 24 hours. We're on vacation in Antigua, and my phone was ringing. I'm like, hey, I'm not in the area. This everything. I just need to talk. I said, okay, we can talk, and she deals with that. And there's no ever she's never mad at that. There's never a time where she's ever been upset with me doing my job.
Yeah.
And I can be gone a lot, and that helps. So when you come home to your partner in life and your best friend, and they're not upset about stuff like that, you can keep building on that, which makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like the biggest thing I've learned about you guys just from this conversation, because I've known you for years. I've seen you around and we've said hi a few times, but now I feel like I get to know you a little better today. But I feel like you guys are just so perfect, as a couple, just by the fact that a few minutes ago you were saying, I just love making people happy. And he's talking about how he just loves making his community happy and his, and the firefighters with the socks and, with the breakfast you're making, and then being also just available for people. So I think I see a big congruence between you guys in that way, where it's just about caring for people, helping people. I love that. That's awesome. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where do you guys see the wedding industry and your venue in the future? I know you have some plans.
Yes.
But you can't share those plans.
Not yet.
But in 5 years, where do you see your venue?
I would say, we are doing very well right now. I would say, I don't know, this one's a tough one.
Yeah.
I see. All right.
Okay.
Not tough for me here.
Go ahead, Mike.
So what I see is her having her sketch out.
Okay.
And this place is going to evolve as the times move forward. So as the brides kind of change a little bit, your styles kind of change a little bit, she's going to evolve with that.
Yep.
Let's just say, I have big plans for the guys.
Oh. Okay.
That's true.
Yes.
Okay. That's exciting.
Yes.
Can we get any more hints other than that?
No.
Oh, man.
No.
You can be the first we call.
Yeah.
We'll also, when are you guys planning to go public with this? Because this episode's not going to go public this week. So this might time well if you're going to announce in January or February is all I'm saying.
January and February?
That's probably when this will drop.
Let's get the permit first.
We may just,
Okay.
Yeah, get the permit
Yeah,
first.
get the permit first. Maybe we'll have another podcast once you guys are ready to launch.
We'll do it in whatever you're building.
You're going to get that permit first.
Come on, let's get that. Randy's going to be like,
We're doing more over there.
Randy and Paul are going to be like, I'm retiring.
Yeah. But yeah, so you have done so much with the property. You've invested a lot into the property. You're well connected in the community. If you were to give somebody tips, if they were going to start a venue, not down the street, they want to start a venue in a different state. If they want to start a venue, what's the first thing they should do? Should they build the relationship with the town? Should they start to figure out the financials? Because again, building something is not something that most people can just do off a limb.
Yeah.
Should they just start learning about the industry? Is there a certain place where they should start?
Definitely if you have no background in business, take some sort of business class. Highly recommend.
Yep.
That class that I took definitely, I learned, it was very intense, but it definitely,
It wasn't in teepees?
what was that?
I'm sorry. I had to.
That was a good one.
Every time somebody says intense, I have to do that.
Oh!
I got it.
That's a great dad joke.
That's good.
I don't even have a kid yet, and I'm already full of it.
There you go.
You got that one.
I got it
Excellent.
right away.
Okay. I'm like, is that a destination? Like, where is that? What country is that?
It wasn't toilet paper.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was saying.
Business course.
Oh, yeah,
I
take-
recommend taking a business course.
Take a
Number
business course, and then when you start looking at financing or budget, definitely add on your contingency. You have to have a "oh crap, this happens" fund.
Yes.
And also inflate your budget because you never know the price of wood, for instance. It fluctuates so greatly.
Mm-hmm.
We hit it at certain points when building that it was on the low. So, that was good for us.
Yeah.
But I mean, at other points it skyrocketed again. So you always have to make sure that you have a really nice budget that you can plan for anything bad to happen.
It's better to be under budget than over budget, is what you're saying.
100%.
So,
Yeah, that's probably,
Well, the septic itself.
yeah.
Luckily, we had a little bit of a better game plan because we were going to go with just a regular septic, which was probably half the cost of an engineered septic. But as soon as we hit the ledge, it was like, oops.
Yeah, that increased our budget considerably.
Yeah, and what do you say? Oh, sorry. Here's your porta potty.
Yeah.
You can't. So you gotta.
Right.
Another thing too, I think that helped us out a lot was having vendors, all sorts of vendors, come here when we were doing our construction.
Mm-hmm.
We heard a lot from vendors, but also couples who were touring, and they told us at other places maybe where they were lacking.
Okay.
And so while we were building, we just added those things in. Yeah. And we took recommendations from people. So our photographer came and she said something about bathrooms. There's a place that there's not enough bathrooms and they're always broken. And so we're we're going to add in another bathroom. We weren't planning it, but we added it in.
Yep.
And so it's just, we took everybody's suggestions, recommendations, and we just went with that.
Because again, you've never built a wedding venue before. Right.
No.
So utilize the community, invite the vendors in, get feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even the heat and AC. We went through a couple of different people until we found the right one because we didn't know much about this system. We knew we wanted a system like this, but these ones, they don't blow right directly on you. It's a 360.
Yeah.
So we were thinking, okay, we'll have a heater on this wall way over here up top, right? Well, okay, then everybody's going to be hot by the heater but cold down here.
Yeah.
Now it kind of flows around you. It's a way better system that we would have not done if we didn't make a few more phone calls, really.
Yeah.
That worked out well.
Yeah, I think it's always warm in here when it needs to be and cold when it needs to be.
It's not up all the way right now, just
it's okay.
So now we've talked a lot about operations and how you built this and all that. But tell me a little bit about how do you guys market? How do you guys expand your audience and get new couples in the door?
So we're on Zola.
Yeah.
We use that platform.
I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to put the word WedBegin with my voice over it. No.
That's awesome.
That's good.
There you go.
Soon to be on WedBegin.
There you go.
You can tell them what I thought about our advertising and how I thought.
Oh my God, this is a funny story.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so I advertise on a number of Facebook, social media, wedding pages.
Yep.
And so I create all of my ads. So I go in, I create them, post them, all that stuff in all my social media. Michael, for the longest time,
I'm like, God, people are kind.
thought that other people were making my ads for me and posting them on all these platforms. He thought the people on the platforms were making these ads.
These people are so cool. Like,
Wow.
He's like, they're really.
Jess, check it out. Someone made an ad.
Right. He's
I think
like,
that's how it came up one time. This was really
he's
cool.
like, they're really nice. Look at. I'm like, Mike, I make all those. I put those. You do?
That's so
Well, that's a
funny.
compliment to you then.
There
You're
you go.
killing it then.
I was like, you do? I'm like, I did not know that.
I was like, babe, when we're watching TV and I'm on the computer,
That's what you're doing.
I'm marketing right now.
Yeah.
I'm playing Clash of Clans.
Were you surprised with how much marketing you had to do when you started this?
Surprise, no, but it is a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work that maybe you weren't expecting to do. Social media is an endeavor, you know.
Yeah.
It's not so simple sometimes.
No, it
Yeah.
isn't. That's a definitely a learning curve. I have to admit, I'm new to Instagram.
Mhm.
I don't know why. I was like, I don't need another platform. I was just sticking with Facebook. And then I was like, fine, I'll give in. And because it was like one more thing I have to do, but I'm on now, Instagram and Facebook and all the platforms.
You have great
and
presence too.
Thank you.
2 years later, great
Yeah,
presence.
Thank you.
So you're
Well,
doing
you know,
good.
I feel like Facebook is really good when you have like a bunch of family and friends and that close network. It's really great for reaching them. And Instagram is much better for like those cold people that have never heard of you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like for me, at least, that's the algorithm, how it usually works. I don't know. Is that like how it is for you usually too, you think? Or what are your thoughts?
Yes. I see different people on each of the platforms.
Yep.
So yeah, I do hit others. Do have that nice feature where you post on Facebook and it goes to Instagram.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a 2 for 1, you know.
2 for 1. of course.
But I remember when I first started Instagram, I would see all of your videos that you would do for Salute Bar Car, and I'm like, oh my God. So I was like trying to copy what you were doing because I'm like, how is he doing this?
Okay.
I'm like, I feel like I'm dating myself right now, but like,
That's okay. Yeah.
I like had no knowledge of Instagram on how
Yeah.
to do any. I had to teach myself how to do it and ask my daughter many questions, and God
Well,
bless
you
her.
did it. Yeah. And you're also heavily on the Facebook groups. So
Yes.
like here in Connecticut, there's so many.
Yeah.
There's Connecticut vendors, Connecticut wedding, people who are planning weddings. They join these Facebook groups. I always feel like I see your stuff in there. You'll share stuff in there. You'll be in comments, shouting out the venue. Other people will shout out each other,
there's
which
a
is
lot.
really great.
Yeah,
right?
there's a lot of my former couples that
Are
graduated.
still in the group.
They're still in
right?
the group,
Yep.
and they promote us, which I love. It's like, I don't know, it's definitely says something when you
Yeah.
have couples who get married here and they're
Yeah.
posting
Yeah.
like recommending us. And anybody who's been here, people will tag us. Caterers, we get them tagging us in posts, and
Yep.
I
Yep.
always appreciate,
Well, plus, like,
sharing
something that we talked about on the first podcast, and in relation to this, I would say for the groups on Facebook, I've personally at least found, maybe this is just me, but for me, a lot of the times the leads you get from those groups, it's like hit or miss, But it's not just about being on those groups. It's like he said, he saw you guys posting. And I was telling him on the first podcast, it's like that importance of being in multiple places. Like they see you at the venue expo, then they see you on the Facebook post, then they see your website when they're looking up venues in the area. So it's like that multiple points of contact where if they see you multiple places, I think that's where you're more likely to be like, it's an easy close when they come in to walk in. I'm sure it's like they're signing the contract of the day,
Yep.
So,
Yep, you're building trust.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
it. They get recommendations on all these platforms, and then it's funny. I try to not be pushy, So if somebody says, they're looking for a venue in Connecticut, Eastern Connecticut, sometimes I'll say, hey, if you want to check us out, and I'll put the website, but I don't hunt people down.
Yeah.
If they're interested, then it's fun because I'll see the email pop in. I'm like, oh, yes, they're interested. And, I get back to them.
Yeah. You build something that speaks for itself, too.
Yeah.
People
And
see
especially with a venue, it's like every bride's got a completely different imagination of what she wants for her day.
Yeah.
So, you might have the most amazing venue and they might be like, this is a beautiful venue, but it's nothing like what I want for the wedding, or vice versa,
Definitely.
So,
yeah.
So I think that's good that you're not like pushy in that way. I think especially for venues, it's like to push too much. It's like, well, the bride wants what she wants.
Yeah, nobody should be bullied into picking a vendor.
Yeah.
You want to, I think people book with you because they're comfortable with you. You have that relationship. So I think that, if you're not pushing yourself on them, I think it's better. I think it says something more about you if you're not pushy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, before we jump back in, if I could have just a moment of your time. Your support genuinely means the world to us. This show exists because of people like you who believe in what we're building. WedBegin is our home for the entire wedding community, a place where photographers, planners, florists, DJs, and every kind of vendor can be discovered, and where couples can finally plan with clarity and confidence. So thank you for listening, thank you for sharing, and thank you for helping us grow this movement. Now, let's get back into the episode. So go ahead and visit WedBegin.com to reserve your spot on our waiting list.
So we have a closing tradition here where the last guest leaves a question for the next guest without knowing who that next guest is. So our last guest left you a question. And it sort of was answered, but let's see if there's a different take on it. The question was, what motivated you to start this? What was the motivation?
To create a business, to make people happy, bring more joy into the world.
Yep.
What's great about owning a venue is that it's a joyous place.
Yeah.
Everybody who comes here is celebrating something. It's you're making somebody's dream come true. You're bringing families together because we've held not just weddings, we've held celebration of life where you can have large gatherings and everybody can share stories and about their loved ones, and it's all about bringing people together. So I think that is just bringing that to our community, a place where everybody can come together and bring love and joy and be happy.
Love that.
Love it. Well, we thank you both for being on the podcast.
Yeah, and as a thank you to, like I mentioned to briefly, you guys are going to get free grandfathered access to use the WedBegin platform. So
Awesome.
I'll send you the link for that after, and you guys can create your account. And then you guys, all that are listening, can check them out on WedBegin.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, thank you guys so much. Yeah, appreciate you both.
Thank you.